Welcome back. We have just finished our analysis of episode 7 of Welcome to Derry, and the source material is it's explosive.
It really is.
I mean, this is no longer just a story about some ship-shifting monster. It is crystallized into this terrifying political tragedy, meticulously engineered, and it's all wrapped up in a clown suit.
Precisely. So our mission for you today is to really synthesize this huge, complex stack of sources. We finally get the definitive look at Pennywise's human predecessor.
Right.
And the shocking details of the Black Spot Massacre, which was, it was a premeditated disaster. And maybe most importantly, the horrifying scope of General Shaw's real conspiracy.
So we're connecting those dense narrative threads for you, making sure you catch the crucial details that set up the entire finale.
Exactly.
We've got 3 massive threads to pull on today. First, we have to analyze the tragic man behind the mask, Robert Bob Gray, and his connection to all this terror. Second, we're jumping directly into the devastating Black Spot disaster. We'll focus on the collaborators who made it happen and, the price that the victims paid. And finally, we're going to dissect that shocking political manipulation, from the highest level, because that right there reveals the true stakes of this entire cycle of fear.
Okay, so let's dig into this first revelation. After years of theories, the source material finally gives us a clear look at the entity's human predecessor.
Right.
We're back in 1908. We're at Santini's Traveling Carnival. That's the same one Francis Shaw was at back in episode 3.
And this is where we meet Robert Bob Gray. The confirmation is so subtle, but it's undeniable.
The handkerchief.
The handkerchief. His initials, RG, embroidered on it in that iconic, unmistakable Pennywise red. His stage show is also just explicitly tragic. It's an homage to his late wife, Periwinkle.
So tell us about that distinction, because Periwinkle was a Perot clown.
Yes. A black and white, very expressive, sort of tragic victim figure, often associated with the moon, crescent shapes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But Bob Gray, he was an August clown.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Colorful, noisy, clumsy. And that specific clown distinction, it's so critical to understanding his personal ambition and his eventual downfall.
Because it highlights his perceived fall from grace.
It does. He's working a carnival. That's the low prestige, midway with, games of chance, freak shows. He desperately wants to get back to the circus.
The big leagues.
The big leagues. The prestige, the big top, the focus on actual skill. The fact that he's now doing this mournful Perot-style act while being an August clown, plus his implied alcoholism, it just reinforces that sense of failure, and it fuels his desperation to be something more.
And that personal tragedy, it just continues with his daughter, Ingrid Kirsch.
Who will grow up to be the maid at Juniper Hill, yeah.
She tries to connect with him. She surprises him in her mother's Perot clown outfit, which seems to move him. He calls her Pumpkin.
And then he makes this promise, this great new father-daughter clown act, saying it will be, and this is a quote, different and something no one has seen before.
Chilling. That is the most chilling foreshadowing in this entire sequence.
It sets up his next horrifying act as Galoo, the entity. But we don't see the full transformation.
Yeah.
The source material just describes the urchin boy, some manifestation of Bob's inner child, symbolizing loneliness and abandonment, luring him into the woods.
And all that's left is a bloody handkerchief.
And the carnival barker's theory that he was, just eaten by wolves.
So we connect the dots. Robert Gray's daughter, Ingrid Kirsch, is the one who settles in Derry because she felt drawn to it. She becomes the collaborator.
And her longevity is confirmed. If she were still alive, the sources estimate she'd be, a staggering 116 years old.
Just incredible.
And her complicity in 1962 is absolute. We still don't really know what she and Pennywise talked about in that boiler room at Juniper Hill in 1935.
Right, that's still a mystery.
But her actions, they confirm her loyalty. She was pivotal in orchestrating the Black Spot Massacre. She tipped off the mob, and she actively kept Hank Rogan distracted while it all started.
And just before the massacre, we get that gruesome domestic scene with her husband.
Stan Kirsch, the town butcher, white supremacist, and confirmed wife beater.
He just violently demands she wipe off her clown makeup, hide who she really is, and then Galoo, or Pennywise, appears.
And kills the butcher with this almost darkly comically large butcher knife.
That's when Ingrid gets her confrontation. She actually embraces the entity, hoping to find her father.
But he reveals he is not Bob Gray, though he does claim her father still lives inside him.
What does the source suggest that difference means? for the entity's nature. Is Bob Gray just a psychological template, or is he like a vessel the entity pilots?
Well, the source material suggests the entity is an eldritch being, an alien consciousness that only adopted Gray's form, and crucially, his deep-seated sense of tragic failure and humiliation.
So Gray is the source of the methods.
Exactly. The clown, the fear,
Yeah.
but not the ultimate intelligence. And that intelligence then opens its mouth to reveal the deadlights.
The entity's true form.
3 floating balls of light linked to that celestial object that crashed millennia ago. Their effect is devastating.
It's an immediate catatonic state.
Yeah, the victim's eyes glaze over milky gray, the body levitates, and their consciousness is just ripped away and locked in eternal terror.
And Glue himself gives us the term for this. He calls the process salting the meat.
Preparing the victims for consumption by locking them in that permanent state of fear.
So what about Ingrid? She survives the deadlights and the fire. She's a total enigma.
Yeah, the prevailing theory in the sources is either that Pennywise was too full or she was bad meat.
Meaning she wasn't scared enough to be palatable.
Right, and the truly horrifying implication is that she might just end up as a patient at Juniper Hill, her mind completely shattered by the whole experience.
That brings us directly to the disaster Ingrid helped orchestrate, the Black Spot Massacre. A mob of angry white men, led by the disgraced former police chief Bowers, descends on the bar.
Which was a sanctuary for African-American servicemen.
And this wasn't just, spontaneous racism. This mob was galvanized by corruption and personal grudges, all driven by Galu's influence.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You had Al Malson seeking revenge on Hank Rogan. You had Stan Kirsch motivated by jealousy over his wife.
Bowers was angry about being fired for corruption.
And then you had the straight-up racist town council member basically providing the political cover for the whole thing.
And the subtle details, they link this violence directly back to the entity. The masks the mob wears.
Frankenstein's monster, the vampire, the clown.
Right. All forms Pennywise took in the original books. It shows how Galu's hold over the town manifests directly through human aggression and fear.
And the tragedy of the standoff, it just rapidly turns into an inferno. The sequence with Rich and Marge is a gut punch.
It really is. Rich, acting so selflessly, sacrifices himself to shield Marge from the smoke and flames.
Fulfilling their earlier conversation about the knight protecting the fair maiden, it's this one moment of genuine human connection, fighting back against all that manufactured hatred.
And the numbers are just staggering. 23 souls killed at the Black Spot.
Which is entirely separate from the 17 missing children Galu consumed during his 1962 feeding cycle.
The cover-up is instant and brutal. It confirms the town's absolute corruption. Hank Rogan escapes with Charlotte's help, headed for Montreal.
And the media frames the blaze as a simple electrical fire caused by, quote, negligence on the part of the black airmen.
While Stan Kirsch, the wife-beating butcher, is hailed as a hero who died trying to treat the wounded. It's a total inversion of reality.
Okay, so now we arrive at the core political bomb of this whole deep dive.
General Shaw. He had previously convinced Leroy that he needed the celestial pillars, the fragments of Galu's vessel, to study them.
Right, to trap the entity or maybe even weaponize it against the Russians.
Sources reveal the shocking truth. That was all a lie.
All of it. Shaw doesn't want the pillars studied. He wants them destroyed to unleash Galu on America.
That just flips the entire narrative on its head. The Russian threat was a red herring.
Completely. Shaw's real target is internal. He points to political upheaval, the rising civil rights movement, the push for women's rights. All this social change has the nation, in his mind, on the brink of civil war.
And his rationale is horrifyingly cold and calculated. He believes the best way to force the population back in line and achieve national stability is through fear.
The entity, by creating this random terror-missing kids, local murders, it serves as a political weapon. It creates a state of perpetual anxiety that makes people crave strong, authoritative control.
Why does the source emphasize this internal decay over the external Russian threat?
Well, it's a chilling insight. The source material is explicitly saying that the monster isn't just a killer, it's a tool of political and social control. Shaw sees the fear Galu creates as acceptable collateral damage.
For what he defines as long-term national stability. I mean, that is the truly terrifying insight this deep dive offers you.
And the consequence of this decision is instantaneous. As that pillar is melted, Pennywise awakens from his slumber. He senses it,
Prompting his definitive return to Derry for the finale. The destruction of that ancient relic is literally the starting gun for the final horror.
Before the town is fully plunged into that finale, We have a couple of critical character threads to pull on. Dick Halloran, for one.
Right, he's being haunted relentlessly by the ghosts of his burned army buddies who are demanding he make it right.
And the indigenous warrior Ceci, she also encounters him and guides him to the pillar burial site.
Dick is taking a massive risk here because he previously told Leroy it's best to just leave the dead alone.
But the source material hints he might use his grandmother's lockbox technique, the same skill that's foreshadowed by his appearance in The Shining, to push away the dead.
So the crucial question is, can he use that same skill not just to protect himself, but to snap Will Hanlon out of the Deadlight's trance?
We do get confirmation on Will's survival, thankfully.
Yeah, the trailer shows him escaping in the ice cream truck. He will eventually grow up to be Mike Hanlon's father.
And we also spotted a fun little Easter egg on the Hanlon's fridge Fizzle-A-Cola, a little nod to Nozzle-A-Cola from the Dark Tower.
Nice catch. And finally, the atmosphere itself, it just shifts dramatically for the finale. The whole town is suddenly engulfed in a mysterious fog.
Which could be the literal manifestation of the fear that Shaw wanted to unleash, or maybe something physical released when the pillar was destroyed.
Then some of the specific details we picked up from the trailer are intense. We see children floating from the school, specifically the Patty Cakes girls.
Missing person posters are plastered all over the standpipe.
And Marge is seen holding that glowing dagger, which Rose previously said only Taniel knows how to use.
Then there's that fascinating online debate about a photograph showing a potential adult Lily Bainbridge at Juniper Hill.
Which would tragically connect her trauma directly to Beverly Marsh's mother's struggles with mental illness in the later stories. It just keeps connecting everything.
So this deep dive really shows how Episode 7 pulled the scope of the story wide open.
It really did. It connected the intensely personal human tragedy of Robert Bob Gray's emotional fall with the large-scale orchestrated political horror of General Shaw's conspiracy.
All culminating in the devastating augury of 1962.
And that leads us to the final provocative thought we want to leave you with tonight. The Tribal Council debrief suggested they meet every 27 years to confine Galoo, acknowledging that their sacred duty saves more lives in the grand scheme of things.
So if the town's greatest danger is fear, like Shaw claimed, and that fear is cyclical, is Derry's true curse really the monster that feeds?
Or is it the willingness of its powerful, supposedly legitimate residents to actively weaponize that fear for their own control? What cycle will finally break that deeply corrupted system?